Good evening. You are now listening to the worldwide transmission of the GBC with the Honorable WMII.
Greetings, and welcome to the GBC. I am your host, the Honorable WMII, and I just want to let you know I am extremely excited again to come before you tonight, giving you these stories around the world that you may have missed, and it's just a great honor to do this for you. Just a few announcements. I want to let you know that if you want to contact us, you can contact us at thehonorablewm2@gmail.com. That's the honorable, the number 2, wm2@gmail.com. So, there has been a lot going on in the world. As always, COVID-19 has really been taking over the news here in the country. And as you have heard, there are spikes that are happening nationwide. It seems like the other countries have pretty much, well, we may not be hearing about it, but you don't hear too much about it, but you're hearing a lot about it in the U.S. People going out this time, what they call the holiday season. There are lots of people going out and having cases spike. And one thing you have to do, you just have to be careful. Another thing I want to talk about here, you hear a lot of talk about protecting yourself. Sanitizers, make sure you wash your hands, which is absolutely great. But as far as the sanitizers goes, you have to be careful about that as well. There are some sanitizers that may be toxic. And I have our first article that I want to get into today. It says 9 brands of hand sanitizer may be toxic. U.S. consumers should not use any 9 brands of possibly toxic hand sanitizer that may contain methanol or wood alcohol, a substance that potentially dangerous when absorbed through the skin or ingested, the FDA had warned. The agency alert come at a time when hand sanitizers are in especially heavy demand due to the coronavirus pandemic that has public health officials urging consumers to frequently wash their hands. So you see that, you're hearing talk about sanitizers and making sure you're sanitized, which is good, but you have to be careful of the types of sanitizers you use. I also heard that there's a own homemade sanitizer that you can make. And all it consists of is aloe vera and a few other stuff, alcohol and some water. But you can make that stuff yourself as well, because you don't know what we're buying in these stores. It's reading on. It states the agency urged consumers to stop using the products, which should be immediately discarded in hazardous waste containers. That's how toxic they're saying that these sanitizers are. Do not flush or pour these products down the drain, the agency's announcement stressed. Substantial methanol exposure can result in nausea, vomiting, headache, blurred vision, and permanent blindness. Seizures, coma, permanent damage to the nervous system, or death. Now, these things look innocent, but the hand sanitizers, with anything, you have to be careful. Young children who accidentally ingest these products, and adolescents and adults who drink them as an ethanol substitute, are most at risk for methanol poisoning. So you shouldn't be doing that at all. Now, I'm going to give you the names of the sanitizers. Here are some of the names of the sanitizers, so if you're buying them, I urge you to cut it out. And as I go down the list here, you can hopefully take note. The FDA listed in the following products in its warning: all clean hand sanitizer, ESK, that's ESK Biochem hand sanitizer, Clean Care no germ advanced hand sanitizer, Levar gel hand sanitizer, the Good Gel antibacterial gel hand sanitizer, and Clean Care no germ advanced hand sanitizer. That's just some of the brands that you have to be on the lookout for, as it is really not good for you to use. Reading on, there's some news that's been going on in the country that you may have missed. I'm just going to give you a quick flow of what's been happening. And here's one article here from the Post, New York Post. It says that COVID-19 can spread without symptoms, as you all know. But for months, health officials minimized that risk and pushed misleading messages despite the mounting evidence. There's a question that's also asked. It says, how do Americans feel about the country right now? There's four adjectives here. It says they're anxious, they're hopeful, they're exhausted, and they're angry. So how do you feel with all that's been going on? A lot of people have been in their homes. They have been, some people haven't been working. Some people have been working outside of their homes and in their homes, whichever one that falls on you. How do you feel? Nevertheless, many voters remain optimistic about the future. A Times college poll shows that viewing this moment as a chance for progress, one that can help shape at the voting booth. So a lot of the voters here are still talking about voting. We don't know how these things are going to turn out in November. There's a lot of confusion about mail-in ballots and whether you're going to be safe to go to the polls. So all we can do is hope and pray for the best. They said, we spoke to a group of teenage girls about youth activism, leading protests, and what they hope for in the future. And they said that as teens, we feel like we cannot make a difference in the world, but we must. So you have to remain positive here in the world because there's a lot of strange things going on during these times of COVID-19. Reading on, this is about the tourist industry here. It says that the pandemic decimated Central Florida once booming leisure and hospitality industry, shutting down Walt Disney World, SeaWorld, Universal Orlando, and a plethora of smaller attractions. There has been a lot of, tourist industries that has just been shut down big time. I get calls a lot from people selling vacation packages, and they're trying to get people back down there. But Central Florida has been pretty much decimated, as they stated here in the article. But just as Disney World and other destinations begin to open, infections in the state are surging, worrying workers who are already struggling to get by, that going back to their jobs will lead to infection. The pandemic is also testing the Affordable Care Act as never before, as millions lose their jobs and medical coverage. How it performs as a safety net may decide its future, as it heads to the Supreme Court, where it will likely to be argued during the closing stages of a bitter presidential election. And you're hearing a lot about these programs that is being offered. The coronavirus relief bill, Congress is actually in process of approving another stimulus bill to the American public. So hopefully that and the PPP and all that stuff will be resolved here in the country. Oh, here's a notable name that we haven't heard in a while here. Herman Cain was hospitalized with COVID-19 after attending a Trump rally. Team seeks prayer. So Herman Cain, he ran for president last go round and before last, and he actually had a pretty good chance. He owns this place called Godfather's Pizza, and they have some pretty good pizza. But he was on that, and he became like a billionaire. He was a black billionaire, and he ran for president, but some mudslinging and some scandal situation caused him to drop out the race. Reading on here, it says that former Republican presidential candidate and businessman Herman Cain has been hospitalized with COVID-19, his team announced Thursday, just over a week after attending a rally for President Donald Trump in Tulsa. We are sorry to announce that Herman Cain has tested positive for COVID-19 and is currently receiving treatment in an Atlanta area hospital. Please keep him and all who are battling this virus in your prayers, a statement from Cain's Twitter account said. So Herman Cain's going through a lot, He's been with the Black Voices for Trump rally, and he attended there. And it seems like in this picture here, a lot of these guys was not wearing any masks. So, when you go out about, wear your mask, do the proper precautions if you're out in a public setting like this. Reading on, it says, there is no way of knowing for sure how or where Mr. Kane contracted the coronavirus. But we do know he is a fighter who has beaten stage 4 cancer. Kane's staff said, with God's help, we are confident that he will make a quick and complete recovery. His executive assistant, Lisa, gave the news that he's been taken to the hospital and he was having trouble breathing. We all prayed for him right then, right there, and we continue to do so throughout the evening. So as you see, there's some people that I know recently and have heard of. I was at a meeting. I found that they went to a party, and his wife has coronavirus, and some of their family members. So be careful when you're out in these public settings, because you don't know where people are, where they've been, and it can really cause damage. So when we heard the news, I was really surprised. But a friend of a friend told us about the gentleman. He sent the announcement that he does have, his wife has coronavirus. He said the team was thankful because despite being admitted to the hospital, he did not require a respirator. Yeah, those respirators, I heard, can take a healthy person, physical body down. Let's not sugarcoat it. COVID-19 is a horrible thing to experience. And while we are sure Herman will beat it, just like he beats everything, he really needs prayer right now. He's 73 years old and just about as healthy as anyone I know. But this is really going to require all of his strength and plenty of God's help, he said. Herman will be fine. We're also confident of that. But please lift him up in your prayers, as well as his wife Gloria and their family, for strength and encouragement in getting through this. So our thoughts and prayers are with Herman Kane and his family as they go through this virus here. Prayerfully, God willing, that they will be healed from this. Now, just before we continue on, we want to let you know that as I stated, if you want to support us, you can support us at our Cash App at $TWHWMII. That's all capital letters, $THWMII. Also, if you want a sponsorship with us, you can contact us at thehonorablewm2@gmail.com, thehonorablewm2@gmail.com. Now, reading on, it says, this is no joke. California man posts eerie warning a day before dying of COVID-19. So here's a copy of our article here. It's an eerie warning. This gentleman here looks like a, heavy, healthy guy. And it says, a California man who contracted the coronavirus after attending a party posted a haunting warning on Facebook the day before he died. Tommy Macias, he was 51 years old, began to show symptoms a week after attending a party in early June in Lake Elsinore, about 70 miles outside of Los Angeles, NBC News reported. On June 20th, he penned the tragic message in which he expressed regret for failing to follow social distancing measures and mask wearing guidelines, and for putting his family at risk. That's just what I was saying. You go to these places and you're really putting yourself and your family at risk if you're not protecting yourself properly. It says, because of my stupidity, I put my mom and sisters and my family's health in jeopardy. This has been a very painful experience, he wrote. This is no joke. If you have to go out, wear a mask and practice social distancing. Reading on, it says, Macias, he was a truck driver, added, hopefully with God's help, I'll be able to survive this. But an official from Riverside County office of the Vital Records told NBC News that Macias died from COVID-19 the next day. Macy's has tried to strictly follow the state shelter-in-place order between late March and early June because he was at risk with diabetes, his brother-in-law had told Yahoo News. But Macy's decided to attend the party after Governor Newsom signaled he'd be loosening the coronavirus restrictions, the outlet reported. He was quarantined because he was very overweight and had diabetes. After the sorority, one of Macy's friends contacted him to let him know that he had tested positive for the coronavirus and that he knew of his positive diagnosis when he attended the party. So you're going to these parties and you're putting yourself at risk when you pretty much know what's been going on. Governor Newsom, one thing about him, he's the governor, but he's not God. You know, when a symptom and a plague comes across the country, just because somebody said I'm loosening the restrictions don't mean you should go all willy-nilly out here amongst people. A lot of people has been stuck in their homes. They've been going out in the public after being stuck in the homes, which really lowers your immune system. So if you're not protecting yourself, you can really transmit this disease. And it says, but the friend falsely believed that because he didn't feel any symptoms, he couldn't transmit the virus to others. Lopez said he knew of more than a dozen people who contracted COVID-19 after attending that party. Macy's, who was transported to a local hospital at about 11 a.m. June 2nd and placed on a ventilator between roughly 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. before he passed away around 9 p.m. So that was a quick transition there. He would do anything for anybody, Lopez told Yahoo News, no questions asked. So our thoughts and our prayers are with Mr. Macy's and his family. And I want to tell you all that this, we have to be careful out here, folks. As I keep telling you, we're going to talk about coronavirus news today because the cases are spiking and you just need to take care of yourself. Now, with that being said, we want to take a quick break and we will continue back with you on the GBC. Thank you for rejoining us here on the GBC. I'm your host, the Honorable WMII. And in our sponsor spotlight today, we have a special treat for you. Coming from her upcoming project, Today We Live. Here's our world premiere of the song titled His Glory by Angela Y Dubose.
Hey everybody, with all this coronavirus stuff going on, I just wanted to give you some encouraging words. So just listen at the words of the song, and I hope that it blesses you. Let your glory fill this place. Let my worship overflow, invoke your presence in this place. Lord, I long for your grace. I sing glory, hallelujah. You deserve the highest praise, and it's all for your glory. All for your glory. I put myself in position for your glory. I put myself your glory, all for your glory. I put myself in position for your glory. I put myself in position to give God the glory.
Thank you. This is just fantastic hearing that song, His Glory. I listened to this song several times throughout the week, and with the coronavirus going on, we need some type of encouragement, such as this great song here from the world premiere of Angela Y Dubose. If you are in any way feeling any type of way, this song will really lift your spirits, and I'm very thankful to have her on our sponsor spotlight. Now, moving on with our stories here from the Washington Post. Bayer, maker of Roundup weed killer, agrees to pay $10 billion in cancer settlements. Reading on our article here, German pharmaceutical and life sciences giant Bayer has agreed to pay more than $10 billion and settle tens of thousands of current potential U.S. claims that its weed killer Roundup causes cancer. The world's largest seed and agricultural maker announced the settlement in a news release on Wednesday, saying it will allocate as much as $9.6 billion to resolve the current Roundup litigation. The company said the pool will cover roughly 125,000 claims that allege the product leads to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. The company said 75% of those cases resolved as a part of Wednesday's agreement. So that Roundup killer, I hear a lot of people talking about when they do lawns and landscaping that, you know, if they're dealing with that Roundup, they're most than likely getting sick. I know a guy now who he's beat cancer, but he had caught cancer for doing landscaping work, dealing with the Roundup weed killer. So this stuff is on the market, and they're selling it to people, but people are getting cancer from it. I mean, these companies, they really have to we have to do some fact checking on these companies, because a lot of this stuff that they're giving us is dangerous. And Bayer, on top of that, Bayer makes aspirin. What's in the aspirin? We see what's going on with the Roundup, but what's going on in that? I remember reading a story about Bayer some years back. So a lot of stuff we thought was safe for us really is not. Reading on here, it says, in 2015, the World Health Organization International Agency for Research on Cancer labeled the herbicide as a potential carcinogenic to humans. So the WHO back in 2015 said that Roundup, is a possible carcinogenic. In the past 2 years, California jurors have awarded $2 billion to a couple, $80 million to a man, and $289 million to a former groundskeeper. A lot of those landscapers, please be careful. When you're dealing with a lot of these herbicides, killing these weeds, you could be putting yourself at danger as well. And a lot of them, it states here that they blame the cancer diagnosis due to using the Roundup. And that causes the Bayer company shares to plummet. So, rightfully so, if they, having carcinogenics sold on the market to humans, their stock price needs to drop if that's the case. It says, for the future class agreement, the company said in the independent class science panel, composed of expert scientists, will take several years to determine whether Roundup has the potential to cause non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and if so, at what minimum exposure levels. Those who file claims as part of the class action won't be able to proceed with their cases until the determination is made. Access to Roundup products won't change, but Bayer says it will continue to offer customers a more herbicide options through its 10-year investment in developing new methods to manage weeds to support sustainable agriculture. So just get it off the market. I mean, if you ask my opinion, just get this stuff off the market because it's not helping people. If you are using Roundup, please stop because it looks like I don't even know if they're going to have some type of resolution in this. You know, speaking more on some of these class action lawsuits that's going on around the country, women with cancer awarded billions in baby powder suit. A lot of you have heard of Johnson & Johnson and their baby powders. You know, they promoted this stuff like it was supposed to be good for babies and good for children. And some women would use it also. And if you work some type of jobs, you would use it for chafing. And this stuff caused cancer to a lot of people. Then if you look at Johnson & Johnson, they put a baby face on the cover trying to let you know it's safe, but in actuality it's not. And a lot of women have been suffering through different type of cancers from this. Reading on in our article here from the New York Times, it says an appellate court in Missouri upheld more than $2 billion in damages against Johnson & Johnson, saying the company knew there was asbestos in its baby powder. A Missouri appeals court on Tuesday ordered Johnson & Johnson and a subsidiary to pay $2.1 billion in damages to women who blame their ovarian cancers on the company's talcum products, including its iconic baby powder. The decision slashed by more than half of the record award of $4.69 billion in a compensatory and punitive damages to the women, which was made in July 2018. Johnson & Johnson still faces thousands of lawsuits from consumers who claim its talcum products were contaminated with asbestos that caused cancer. The company announced last month that it will stop selling baby powder made from talc in North America, and though it would continue to market the products elsewhere in the world. So they're going to stop it in the United States, but they're going to promote it in other places in the country. What is going on here? A spokeswoman said Johnson & Johnson will seek further review of the ruling by the Supreme Court of Missouri and defended its talcum products as safe. So after all the cancer diagnoses, they're still saying that their products are safe. I mean, what is going on in the world?
Thank you for listening to the worldwide transmission of the GBC with the Honorable WMII.